Hello everyone and Happy New Year's Eve. So here we go, it's the final video of 2021 from GavsWeatherVids. What a year it's been, I'll talk about that a little bit in a moment. But yeah, we've come to the end of another year, and so we're going to bring you our final video of this year very shortly. The main thing with this video is that, of course, we're going to be looking at the weather for the next 10 to 14 days. Day 10 is going to take us to the 10th of January, and we'll be able to extend out beyond that to GFS and ECM ensembles, because they run around a couple of weeks. We're going to have a look at CFS V2 at the end of the video for the next 4 weeks, which will get us well into January. I should get on that video in a moment. Just say about the first video to say was our 7 AM upload. No Jeremy Friday or EC extended today, as it's Christmas week. I'll scale back on all of the videos, so we're just doing, 10 to 14 days and 7 AM or 6 AM upload. Yeah, everything back to normal next week. The full schedule will return next week, of course. Right, so going to the end of another year, as I say, what a year it's been. So we started 2021 at GavsWeatherVids at 10,000 subscribers. We hit 10k on the 17th of January. We have ended the year, just reaching 13,000 subscribers. So we put on around 3,000 during the year, which is quite a decent rate, for this channel. So, yeah, we're on our way to 15,000 subscribers. It would be nice if we could get to 15k during 2022. I suppose that's the next sort of milestone. 20,000 subscribers would be low, but I think we're going to wait a few years before we get to that. Thank you so much, everybody, for all of the incredible support that you've given to GavsWeatherVids over the past 12 months. I'm going to say thank you so much and Happy New Year to all of our channel members. So, Happy New Year to all channel members. We've got 67 channel members now. Thank you so much to each and every one of you. I say thank you so much and Happy New Year to all of our PayPal donors. Thank you so much to all of you. I'm going to say thank you so much and Happy New Year to all of our patrons as well from Patreon. Thank you so much to each and every one of you. And, all the super chatters as well on the live stream. Thank you so much. Happy New Year to all of our super chatters on the live streams. And Happy New Year to each and every one of you, whether you subscribe to the channel or whether you're unsubscribed but you still watch the videos, when you want to. So if you're watching this video right now, just hello, Happy New Year, and thank you so much for all of the support that you've given to GavsWeatherVids over the past 12 months. It's been amazing. It's been an incredible journey that we've had over this past 12 months. As we count down the hours to the end of the year, I think we can say 2021 has been another tremendously successful year for GavsWeatherVids. We multiple website, of course, so we now focus on YouTube and the YouTube channel. It was a decision that I took with a little bit of regret and whatnot, but at the end of the day, it was time to wind down the website. I just hadn't got the time or the energy to be able to do the YouTube channel and all of the content that I have to do on YouTube with maintaining a website as well. So it was a wrench to let the website go, but I think in the end it was a correct decision. I am happy and comfortable with the decision to let the website go, GavsWeatherVids.com, because I've just been stretched too much, and I've been much more relaxed, and happier, I think, since I've been focusing just on the channel. So it was, a wrench to see the website go, but that's life, isn't it? We all have to move on. Things change, and that's what life is all about, isn't it? Moving on and making changes. So we shall see what 2022 has in store for us. Will 2022 bring more changes? Time will tell. But thank you so much, all of you, for all of the incredible support for GavsWeatherVids, not just this year, but since we started all of this in 2012. Right, so let's crack on with your video then, the final video of the year. We're going to begin where we always do on New Year's Eve with the last time we had freezing cold and brutal cold even, and a classic New Year blizzard. This is the chart from New Year's Eve 1978. Can you believe this is now 43 years ago? It's now 43 years. I was 2 years old. No, I was 1 year old. 1 year old and 3 months during the New Year of 1978, 1979. And so I don't remember it, but I was alive for this. And yeah, we've got these easterly winds coming in all the way from the Urals. We've got high pressure blocking to the north. We've got low pressure driving in to the Bay of Biscay with sending rejection down to Spain. It's a classic easterly blast pushing in, and this is bringing copious amounts of snow with it as well. This was a classic New Year blizzard. Last time we had these sort of severe cold easterly winds and blizzard conditions across lowland southern England, really, during the New Year. It was 43 years ago. We did have a very cold New Year with quite a bit of snow in 1996, 1997. I'm sure a lot of you will remember that. But, compared to 78, 79, that was a little bit toned down. Although it was very cold and there was plenty of snow. That's more focused on the north as well, whereas this particular blizzard was focused on more southern parts of the country. But all areas had snow, I think, during the New Year of 78, 79. So that's New Year's Eve. I'll show you New Year's Day as well, shall I? So we'll push on to New Year's Day. So that's how it looks when we get into the first day of 1979. Of course, the January 1979 was an exceptionally cold January as well. And yeah, it's very, very cold New Year's Day. Lots of snow around the country, and those cold conditions were on and off then through the rest of not only the winter of 78, 79, but also through the rest of January. It was the last time I had a sub-zero city January. Thought we might get a cold January this year, probably not sub-zero due to the background warming that we've had over the past 20, 30 years. But if we might get a cold January this year, it's not looking great, I have to say, for a cold January at the moment. Yeah, so the wait for a freezing cold and snowing New Year continues. Will we ever get another one? Will we get another New Year like this, 78, 79? Let me know in the comments what you think. Will this ever come back? Will we see a classic New Year snowstorm and blizzard such as we had in 1978 to 1979 over the New Year? Or is that gone? And are we now in a different regime, in a different era? And, will that never return? Let me know in the comments what you think. But yeah, 43 years now since that blizzard and snowstorm, the New Year of 78, 79. Well, it couldn't be more different this New Year, with record-breaking warm this New Year. So look at this, we've got 16 degrees there, flashing away at London City Airport. I believe that is a new temperature record for New Year's Eve. Not for overall for December. I think the ultimate maximum temperature record for December is around 18 degrees. So we're only a couple of degrees away from the all-time maximum, actually. But for a date record for the 31st of December, I think that is an all-time record, as the previous record, I think, was 15 degrees. And there's still an hour or two left for the temperature to rise further. So, we might even push this up to 17 in the end. It will be interesting to see. But, it's very, very warm out there. If you've not been out yet, it really is feeling balmy. It's feeling spring-like temperatures. 14 degrees at Stansted, 13 degrees at Western, 14 degrees at Boscombe, 15 degrees, wow, at Yeovilton, 14 at Nottingham, absolutely exceptional. Sennybridge at 11, Plymouth at 12. Just into the far north Scotland, it's a little bit cold there. Loch Glasgarnock is at 4 degrees. I don't know whether that might be under fog or something. Inverness is at 7. Boyne is at 8 degrees. Dundee is at 9. Strathallan is at 9 degrees. So, it's not quite as hot in the north, but it is still very mild up there. And further south, it really is an exceptionally mild, record-breakingly mild, actually now, record-breakingly warm New Year's Eve. We're probably going to have our warmest New Year's Eve to New Year's Day, overnight period on record as well, I would have thought. And tomorrow, New Year's Day, will probably break more records as well. Truly extraordinary and exceptional developments. Obviously, the centering temperature is responding to all of this. So the CT is now standing at 6.3, which is around 1.5 degrees above average. That's provisional to yesterday, to the 30th of December. That's going to go up more, of course, today. There'll probably be a downwards correction, though. So in the end, we'll finish up at around 6.5, we think, which is a very mild, quite warm December. This year has been interesting. As we're at the last day of the year, we might as well quickly have a recap on what's happened through the year. So we start off in January with a relatively cold month, actually, at minus 0.7. It was a lot colder further north. It wasn't as cold as that further south. But overall, we did have our coldest January for quite a few years. I think that was the coldest January since 2010. We'll confirm that in a moment. February and March go mild at 1.5 degrees above average. Then we, of course, we very memorably, although it didn't get a great deal of publicity at the time, but memorably, if you're watching GavsWeatherVids, it's memorable anyway. We have our coldest April for 35 years, the coldest April since 1986, with a CT of 6.4. That is 1.5 degrees below average. And then we have our coldest May. Again, didn't receive much publicity away from GavsWeatherVids, but we did focus on it a lot on the channel. The coldest May since 1996, so the coldest May for 25 years. So April and May were very, very cold. And again, that just highlights, I think, anybody that I see lots of comments, people saying that it'll never get cold again. You know, we'll never have a lot of snow again. We'll never have a very cold winter. April and May, those 2 months, the coldest since 1986, the coldest since 1996, they tell us that it's the synoptics that count. Synoptically, if you get the high pressure in the correct position for blocking, the cold air is still there. We see this right now across northern and western America and Canada, where it is very cold and snowy. Japan is very cold and snowy. They have got the blocking in the position to deliver that cold. We are on the warm side, or have been on the warm side of the blocking. But if we ever get that blocking into the correct position, you know, April and May show that we can still get appreciably cold, even with the warming signal that we've been in for the last several decades. You know, even with that, if the blocking sets up over Greenland and sits there, we will still get appreciable levels of cold weather. If it happened in April and May, why can't it happen in January and February? Again, let me know in the comments what you think. In June, we go very mild, very warm June, 15.5. Then July, another pretty hot July at 17.7. August goes cooler as ever. August lets the summer down. And we go traditionally cloudy and rather cool, 15.8. A little bit below average, actually, for the more modern average and near normal for 61 to 1990. Hot September, 15.9, over 2 degrees above average. As we establish in our winter updates, there has never been a cold winter. Excuse me. As we establish in our winter updates, there has never been a cold winter following a September with a CT of 15 degrees or more, even back into the 1700s. So, there's always a first time for everything, but it is, there is a strong statistical, anyway, maybe coincidence, but there is that very, very strong statistical link between hot Septembers and mild winters. And when, I forecast, when GavsWeatherVids forecast a cold winter, we was taking our life into our hands a little bit following September. We was thinking that maybe, this would be one of those one-off occurrences. It doesn't look at the moment like it will be. It's still relatively early in the winter, of course, but yeah, hot Septembers, mild winters. It's one of the statistical strongest signals, really. That's not to say that if you have a cold September, you'll have a cold winter, but so cold Septembers can lead to both cold winters and mild winters, if you see what I mean. But hot Septembers, they always lead to mild winters historically. Then we have October, that comes out warm as well at 12.1. And then we have November, which is just a little bit milder than average at 7.3. And then, of course, we've got December down here, which is going to come out around 6.5 at the moment. Is standing at 6.3. So it's been a strange year, but I think what we can clearly see, the trend through the year has been to be warmer in the second half, and the coldest part of the year was definitely in the first half, and particularly focused around the spring. So what years have been similar to? Let's have a look at the CT page at the UK Met. We're back 1659. So I would say the years we've kind of been similar to for like a modern type year is like 2013. I think we're quite similar to 2013. We have a cold first half to the year and then a warmer second half of the year. And again, probably 2006, where again we have a cold first half of the year and a milder, warmer second half of the year. And both of those were followed by mild winters, for the following year, 2006, 7 and 2013, 2014, which is exceptionally mild and a very wet winter as well. The yearly CET is probably going to be our coolest since 2013. So despite this warm end to the year, we did still have quite a cold first half to the year, and so overall the yearly CET will probably come out as the coolest since 2013. That's 2013's yearly CET at 9.61. We won't be anywhere near as cold as that. We will still be in the 10s, actually. I think we're probably going to finish up around 10.2. Maybe, which, as we see here, we've got 10.95, we've got 10.31, 10.34, 10.58, 10.68, 10.34, 10.76. So around 10.2, that will be our coolest year since 2013, but still above, long-term averages. A year in the 10s, sort of 40, 50 years ago, was quite unusual. If you go back here, let's go back into the 1950s, for example. How many years in the 10s did we get in the 1950s, where we had 1949 there, 10.64. There wasn't another one, though, until 1957 at 10. That year just there at 10. 1957 at 10.06. And then another one in 1959 at 10.52. Very warm year. But then in the 1960s, there wasn't a single year. There wasn't a single year from 1959 until 1975. Just there wasn't a single year in those 16 years that was in the 10s. All of the yearly CETs then through the 60s and the first half of the 1970s were either in the 9s or sometimes in the 8s. So it just goes to show how the temperatures changed, how we've warmed dramatically since the 1960s. Of course, 1960s was an abnormally cold decade, but there's no doubt about it. We have had a significant warm-up in the temperature. But having said all of that, could we see a cooler year in 2022? It will remain to be seen. This is how yearly CETs are looking all the way back into the 1600s. So you can clearly see, as UK Met, you can clearly see how the CET sort of takes off in the 1970s, through 1980s and 1990s. That's the drop in the CETs that occur between 2007 and 2013. So we go through that colder period, cooler summers, colder winters from 2007 with the wet summer, of course, 2007, and, through to 2010, which happened December to remember, and a cold winter for 09-10. And then the final sort of cold year was 2013, as we've explained, which did include that freezing cold March of 2013. After that, we see that the CET yearly temperature lifts back up again. And where we are right now is just there, where we see this green bar just here. So you see this is going to be our coolest year, probably 2013. The ensemble meanship, the red line, or the mean CT, which is red line, has ticked down over this year. So we have had a little tick down. It would be interesting to see where we go. I did a video back in the spring, I think, saying that when we get these tick downs, normally they last for a year or two, and the CT will go down for a year or two. So maybe 2022 will be a cooler year. We will see this red line dropping a little bit more. Conversely, we might see the red line stabilising, or we might even see the red line going up even further. So 2022 is going to be an interesting year, I think, to see where we go. Will the cooling, rather modest, but will the cooling of 2021 intensify? Will it continue in 2022? Or has that now ended and we'll see that red being line, going back up again or stabilising? It's going to be very, very interesting to see. But as I say, in terms of cold winters, it's always the pattern that is the important factor, even in these warm years that we are currently in. As I say, we did get our coldest April since 1986. We had our coldest April for 35 years. This is how the re-analysis for April 2021 looks absolutely perfect for delivering cold, primed with that high pressure around Greenland. And that is the reason that even with all of the warming that's gone on since the 1970s and continues, even with that, we managed to pull off our coldest April since 1986. Now, if that pattern occurs in January, we're going to have a cold or a very cold January. The problem is, of course, as always, getting the pattern in place at the correct time of the year, or maybe incorrect time of the year if you don't want a cold January. But yeah, you know, if we set up that pattern from April in January, we'll have a very cold January. If we set up that pattern in December, we'll have a very cold pattern. We'll have a very cold month. If we set up that pattern in February, we'll have a very cold month. If we were to set up that pattern and keep it going all the way through a winter, we would have an extremely cold winter. And maybe one of these years it will occur. But what a month April 2021 was, of course. Right, so that's like the review, I suppose, of the year. Let's just see what's going on in terms of stratospheric temperatures. It's going to be quite a long video, but we do push a boat out over New Year. So just go through the stratospheric temperatures very briefly. So we are going to get a warming of the stratosphere over Siberia as we go through the first week of January. We've been talking about this in videos a lot lately. It does not get to the level of a sudden stratospheric warming, but it is a significant warming of the stratosphere that's taking place over Siberia, and that continues, you know, through the first week of January. Then it kind of fizzles out a little bit into the second week of the month. We have a go at renewing that warming, but it doesn't really come to a great deal. By the end of the latest GFS run, we're looking like that in terms of stratospheric temperatures at 10 HPA. So polar vortex is still there, but it is being weakened and stretched. That looks a little bit prime, I have to say, for potentially leading to a sudden stratospheric warming. I would not be surprised. That came off like on the 16th of December if it looked like that. I would not be surprised if a few days after that we was to get another major warming of the stratosphere that would start to put even more pressure on that polar vortex, because it does look very stretched and weakened really by that point. But it is still there, you know, up to the middle of January. So as ever through January, it will be a case of monitoring what's going on in the stratosphere. These are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles the next couple of weeks. On Birmingham data grid line is a 30-year upper air temperature average for Birmingham, which is starting off exceptionally mild, warm even at the moment. Temperature up to 10 degrees at 10 HPA, which is more like the kind of upper air temperatures you'd expect to see in June or July, to be honest, than the end of December. But there we go. It is absolutely amazing. Yeah, that's what we're in at the moment. From tomorrow, or like 2nd of January onwards, we're going to start cooling things down. By the time we get through to around the 5th of January, we actually have a little bit of a cold snap. Only lasts a day or so, and then we're just quite close to average. There's no sign that we go back to this extreme record-breaking warmth. We just go close to average, really, through the rest of the first half of January. That is going to be zonality, though, in with that. So we're going to have warmer and cooler sectors alternating with one another. And at this time of year, when you average that out, you probably look at that and think that, you know, if it's round average, then potential will be average. But it's not the case at this time of year. If it's zonal, it'll still be warmer than average even with that, because we don't get the cold nights as there's bands of rain and things pushing through during the nights, and winds remain pretty brisk. So we don't get cold nights, we don't get much frost, and so we still come out above average with midwinter zonality. Precipitation-wise, just quite unsettled, really, from beginning to end. So there is going to be plenty of rain to come with all of this, with this up and down weather temperature. Temperature anomalies from the 31st of December to the 8th of January going to be milder than average. Precipitation anomalies from the 31st of December to the 8th of January, they're going to be drier than average in the south, which may be a little bit of a surprise given that looks pretty wet, that ensemble graph, doesn't it? But we are starting off relatively dry at the moment. The latest wind from map from earthnautical.net shows that we continue to bring in most southerly southwesterly winds. If we drag up the map, we can see just how far these winds are originating from. So the southwesterlies are originating like from the south and east of the Canary Islands and the Azores through here. We are also bringing some air up from Africa today. That's like Central Africa just there. That's got a component into that southerly wind as well. So this is an extraordinarily long fetch southwesterly to southerly wind, and so that is the reason we're breaking records for warmth left, right and centre in this incredible new year. This is how the UK Met Euro is looking for Monday, so we're cutting off that southerly southwesterly by Monday, turning wind into west, which is a mild wind direction, but it will be more sensibly mild. A brief northerly snap as we go through into Tuesday. That might deliver some light frost and a few wintry showers to the north. Then under this ridge of high pressure midweek, that could be quite cold, and again, there could be a little bit of frost in with that. And then we get into the end of next week, and we just turn back into milder, wet and windy weather, but not excessively hot. Icon for the last time this year looks like this. Again, winds are in from the west on Monday, which will be rather cooler wind direction. Low pressure pushes eastwards, bit of a cold snap. Tuesday through to Wednesday, back into milder, wetter, windy weather, all the way up to the end of next week then. Again, it's a relatively mild wind direction because it's from the west, but it won't be excessively warm as it is right now. GFS midnight run looks like that. So again, low pressure is going to cut off that southwesterly around Monday, and then we'll have a little bit of cold snap Tuesday through to Wednesday before we begin to go milder again through the second half of the week with westerlies returning. Into quite wet and windy weather, moving up towards day 10, plenty of wind and rain to come, and then high pressure reaching in behind that low. Again, a little bit of a cold snap there around the 10th of January, and that won't last because, fundamentally the weather's still to be coming in from off the Atlantic. But the midnight run does start to build up some high pressure from the south. That probably would deliver some frost and fog, especially for more southern areas, but it's not a cold area of high pressure, it's a warm ridge actually, and that's how it looks as we get to the middle of the month, 16th of January, as far as we go with the GFS midnight run. Mainly anti-cyclonic in the south, which might deliver some frost and fog, relatively mild, wet and windy further north. The GFS 6Z, so last time this year for the GFS, looks like this. Again, low pressure is moving in moving way to the east around Tuesday, putting in a colder northerly wind, a little bit of cold snap middle of next week. Only lasts a day or so, and then we're back into those milder westerlies. Again, moving up to day 10, just looking quite wet and windy, although a little bit of cold snap there around 9th of January as the low pressure dies into the North Sea. That pulls the wind into the north, so again, a little cold snap around day 9, 10. Once more, that doesn't last because low pressure just funneling in from off the Atlantic, keeping the westerlies going, keeping it relatively mild, wet and windy. Right at the very end of the GFS 6Z, we finish up with a deep area of low pressure in the North Sea to Denmark, and that is pulling in what looks like a rather colder northerly. I suspect that is only a snap, and this low just here is coming out of Newfoundland. I suspect that would bring the wind back into west again within a couple of days. But there's a bit of a cold snap then on the 6Z around the middle of the month. GM looks like this for the final time this year. Again, it's looking like got a little bit of cold snap around Tuesday to Wednesday. This ridge of high pressure might deliver some light frost. Second half next week, they're back into westerlies. Again, they carry on pushing through all the way up to day 10, whereas flat as a pancake, really. So, more wind and rain to day 10 with GM. ECM looks like that. So, for the final time this year, the ECM also takes that low pressure east on Tuesday and pulls in some colder air from the north, a little bit of a cold snap, then a ridge of high pressure, midweek turn drier with some frost. That doesn't last so long. We're back into wet, windy weather through the second half of next week. And all the way up to day 10, the ECM, keeps it pretty mild and unsettled. In fact, that's probably the mildest of all the models by day 10. The ECM has turned into the Grinch. Actually, for anyone who wants cold weather, the ECM has become the Grinch model, really, since before Christmas. This is the precipitation type forecast based on that ECM run from Meteo.com. Loads of rain over the next few days coming and going. Then it turns a little bit colder, so there might be a little bit of winchiness, in the north and east a while. But it's not particularly cold air mass, just a little bit cold zonality. Might deliver some snow to the north. By day 10, we're back into relatively mild weather with more rain. These are the options on the table within the ECM ensembles today for day 10. Gets us to the 10th of January. 17 members of the ECM ensembles have a mid-Atlantic ridge, so they're going to be colder with low pressure to the east. That will bring wind into the north. 12, including the operational run, has high pressure to the south, southwest, low pressure to the north, northwest. That's going to be mild, bring wind up from the southwest. Another 10 with high pressure, more or less over country, can be mainly dry, probably quite chilly. 7, high pressure just to our north, maybe a little bit of an easterly with that, a little bit drier and colder. and then 5 with high pressure, more or less over top of the country. That could deliver some frost to the south. So it does look as though the options are probably favouring some higher pressure by day 10, actually. Where that high pressure sits is critical, though, as to whether it's mild or cold. In 2 weeks' time, gets to the 15th of January, these are the options I've got. 14 members of the ECM ensembles, lots of low pressure, bring unsettled weather. 13 with high pressure to the south, low pressure to the north, that's going to be mild, though there might be frost in the south, I suppose. 10, looking westerly with low pressure in off the Atlantic Ocean. We've got 9 with high pressure just to our east, bringing perhaps a bit of an easterly type flow, like some frost and fog, and 5 with high pressure, more or less over the country. Again, that might do a little bit of frost and fog. Certainly no sign of anything overly wintry up to the middle of January there. So there's the 2. Looks like this is a 500 millibar heights break down into week periods. The first week period takes from the 31st of December to the 6th of January. High pressure to the south, low pressure to the north. That looks mild and west or southwesterly. Week 2, which is the 7th to the 13th of January. Low pressure again to the north. High pressure pulled out into the Atlantic. Winds in from west. That looks more unsettled, but still mild. Week 3 is the 14th to the 20th of January, with again low pressure in off the Atlantic. That looks quite mild and wet. And then week 4 keeps it all going. It's 21st, 27th of January, with low pressure in off the Atlantic, winds in from west. A complete write-off for cold weather for January. If the CFS is right, there is some blocking beginning to appear at high latitudes by week 4, but not up to that point anyway, in a position to deliver anything cold. I know it's been an absolutely rotten update for anybody who wants cold weather. So the final thing I'll leave you with before we sign out for this year is the GFS midnight control run. So this is going a little bit cold. I just thought I'd give this, you know, straw to clutch for cold lovers. So again, control run from the midnight GFS takes out low pressure to the east, does pull off a little bit of a cold snap around Tuesday to Wednesday, very quickly back into those milder westerly winds. So, but then heading up towards day 10, low pressure moves into the North Sea, so you're pulling a colder northerly, and then if that wasn't enough, we begin to get some higher pressure building to our east, so the Siberian high begins to show its hand, and so eventually, as we go through the second week of January up to the middle of the month, we get high pressure set over Scandinavia, we pull the wind into the east. Obviously that would go much colder and would start to deliver some snow showers into the east. That is an outlier, you know, quite a big synoptic outlier. But as ever, there's always a potential for something, you know, to happen. There's always a straw to clutch within the model output. And today's GFS control midnight run was that straw. I would be extraordinarily surprised if that verified, but, you know, it's an option, it's a possibility. If it's showing within the model output, then obviously that is a possibility, but a very, 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 very low possibility at this point. And we're done for this year. So if you have enjoyed this video, please give us a like button. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to your friends and family to subscribe as well. And thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. And yeah, that's it then for 2021. So whatever you are doing this evening, whether you're at home or out and about, you have a fantastic time. Stay safe as well through this evening. And we shall see you next year. But for this New Year's Eve video, that's all for now. Thanks for watching. Happy New Year.